We want to continue from where we left off last week. So last week we spent time looking at the various elements, talking about the data types, the identifiers, operator precedence, and associativity. That was what last thing we talked about. I hope you can all see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But sir, there's something black on the screen. Okay, it's gone now.
Okay. All right. So today I want to write some programs. Okay, so I'll briefly go through the lecture notes and then we'll move to the Dev C++ platform and then try out some programs. Okay, so one of the things we'll be doing today, writing program to input and output. Okay, so when it comes to inputs, we've done a couple of things on it when we talk about algorithms. Okay, so in programming, the main objective of C++ program is to perform calculations and manipulate data. Okay, so we say that before you enter a data, that data should fall under a particular category, okay, based on programming. So the data can fall under a particular data type. It could be a numeric data type. It could be a character data type. It could also be a Boolean. So we talked about the primitive data types. Okay. So storing of data in computer memory takes two steps. Okay, two-step process. First, you instruct the computer to allocate memory. And then the next aspect includes statements in the program to put the data in the allocated memory. Okay, so anytime we want to store data or perform an input, we have to instruct the computer to allocate memory. Okay, and what we call that term in programming is declaration, declare a variable. Okay, so the variable is just like a container, okay, which will hold that particular data you want to store. Okay, then after doing that, the next thing you do is to now write a program or statement to allocate that data into or to place that data in the memory that's been allocated. Okay, so like I said, we call that declaring of variables. Okay, so how do we declare variables? You declare variables by allocating a data type to the variable. You assign a data type to that variable. Okay, so in C++ and most programming languages, yes, variables need to be declared before they are used. Okay, so you must declare the variable before you use them. Okay, declaring a variable, an example is given here, simply means that you have to define. Okay, another word we can use is define. It will tell you to define a variable. So the example we see here is an example of declaring variable. Okay. Now, what does it mean? Declaring a variable, first, you need to specify the data type. Okay, the data type. And last week, we talked about the data types. And then you specify the variable. Specify a variable. Okay. So here, the data type here is int. And then the variable here is my var. Okay, so a comment here is describing what's happening. It said this is an integer variable, my var. That means that you are allocating, let's say this is your memory, okay? This is the computer's memory. What you are doing is that you are allocating a portion of the memory to the variable my var. Okay. You are saying that that part of memory should be allocated, okay, and given the name my var. Okay. Now we are also saying that the value that variable should take, or that memory allocation should take, should be an integer value. Okay, that's why we put the int should be an integer value. Okay, so for now, we've not assigned any value. All that we've done is declaration, declaring the variable. Okay. Another example is down here. It says float sensor1. So what it means is that you are declaring a variable float. Sorry, a variable sensor1. Okay. And that variable is of type float. Okay, so a float data type. Okay, so we learned from previous lectures last week that floats are for decimal numbers, or what we will call floating point numbers. Okay. Then we have the last one, which is char. That's the data type. And then the variable is letter 01 underscore A. Okay, that's the variable name. So it means that you are declaring the variable letter 01 underscore A as a character data type, okay, as a character. So what it means is that memory should be allocated for that particular variable. Okay, so anytime you declare variable, it's like you're allocating memory. You are allocating memory for your program. All right. Now, the next thing here is that, like I said, declaration is in two parts. Okay, so this is just reiterating what I said. So you have the data type, and then you have the identifier, which in this case is the variable name. Okay. All right. So let me just mention something briefly before we move on to writing the codes. So after declaring your variable, for instance, we say int my var, okay, underscore var. What we've done here is called declaration. Then we have another word which is known as initialization. Sorry. Initialization. Okay. So initialization simply means you are now assigning a value to the variable that you declared. So the variable we declared is int my var. So when I want to initialize it, I'll say int my var, or my var, my underscore var is equal to, let's say, 100. Okay, so what I've done here is to now initialize the variable. Initialization means you are now assigning a value using the assignment operator, which is the equal to. You are now assigning a value of 100 to the variable my var. Okay, so from the memory allocation diagram I drew, and say we are trying to allocate, this is the variable, this space will be made available by var. Okay, and we are saying it should be int. Okay, so in assigning the value, or in initialization, we are assigning the value. So what does it mean? we are saying that the value 100 should be placed inside that memory location. So the 100 here is what we call the value. Are we all following?
Yes, sir.
Sir. Yes, sir.
So you can also do initialization straight away. Okay, so you can also say int by var equals 100. Okay, so you can do it straight away by equating it to 100, or you can first do this, declare it, then after declaring it, you now take the variable and then you initialize it to the value. Okay, so those are the examples we are going to look at. Okay, so we'll look at it from the perspective where you declare the variable, then we'll build on, you declare the variable and initialize it. Then we'll build on it using the input input stream. Okay, that's the IO stream, the input stream to accept the input from the keyboard. Okay. All right, so when we started looking at chapter 3, we talked about the IO stream. Okay, so anytime we declare a variable, anytime we are starting our program, we'll include what we call the IO stream. So you see the hash include, okay. Then we introduce the IO stream. Pardon me for my writing this evening. Okay, we include the IO stream. Now that IO stream is the input and output stream. Okay, that is what is going to allow you to perform input and output in your program. To perform input and output within your program. Okay, so
Sir, please, the screen is off. Okay, it has come.
all right, can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
No.
sir.
Yes,
No,
sir.
please.
No,
Yes,
sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
No.
Still can't see the screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, so let's
Please
go
check your
on.
network.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Let's go on. Okay. So one of the basic operations every program perform is to get data, input, manipulate the data, as in perform computation, and then finally you output. Okay. The TAs had already taken you through examples on that. So this is what we call the sequential control structure. Okay, so we use the input stream. The input stream is a sequence of characters from an input device onto the computer. Okay, so sequence of characters from an input device. So example can be from your keyboard. Okay, input device from your keyboard into the program. Okay. Then also the output string is from the computer to an output device, which in this context will be the monitor, what you see on your screen. Okay. So in performing the input stream, use the identifier cin. C as in C++, C, and then in for inputs. And then when it comes to the output stream, we use C out. Okay, we use C out. Okay, so as you can see here, C in, okay, and then C out. Okay, so please, it's not count. It is C out, not count. All right, so let's move on. So we have a couple of examples here. I think about 7 of them. So there's example 1. All right, before we look at the examples, the input stream, which is the C in, okay, follows this particular order. So anytime you use it, you use the double greater than sign. Okay, so C in, and then we call it the extraction operator, okay, to accept the value from the keyboard. Okay, and you can also use cin.get. Okay. Then when it comes to the output stream, we use the C out with the double less than sign, which is called the insertion operator. Okay. For C out, anytime you want to output. So please take note of the two operators. The extraction is for C in, and then the insertion is for C out. Okay. And also the C out works with this manipulator, which is the end line. Okay, if you go back to when we started in chapter 3, I explained the end line, that's the end L to U. Okay, that means that after typing a word, it should move to the next line. So we'll be using them in the examples as we go along. Okay, so the first example here says a program that illustrates how the output works. Okay, so I'll just explain this and then move to the next example. Okay, you've done some examples in class, so I'll pick the ones that are a bit difficult to grasp so that we'll work with those ones. Okay, so if we look at the example 4.1 here, this example 4.1 has no inputs. Okay, so if you remember one of the characteristics of an algorithm, we said an algorithm may or may not have inputs. Okay, so if you look at this statement here, it doesn't have any inputs. Okay, the only thing we see here, so first we have our hash include names, hash include IOStream. That means we want to perform input and output in this program. Then we have the namespace, okay, which is namespace std anytime we use the C out, C in our program. Okay. Then we have the main method, int main. This is the main method. Okay, like I said, when we start looking at functions, we'll delve more into the main method and understand its role in the program. Okay, but as I said, the main method, every program needs a main method to be able to run or compile. Okay, especially programs that are compiled, they need a main method to be able to compile them. Okay, so mainly you write, or we call it main function as well. Okay, so it's you can say function, you can say methods. Functions or methods. Okay, in other books, you see the procedure. So the main function or the int main function is where you implement your algorithm, or you implement your algorithm within a function. Okay, you can implement your algorithm within a function. So over here, we have the main function. Okay. And this main function, the first line is this, the second line is this, we have the third line, and then the fourth line. Okay. So the first line is saying that C out. So it's trying to output this statement or this string. And we know what strings are by now. It's outputting this string, hi there. I am C++. Okay, so it's going to output this string as it is. And notice what we learned. We learned about the C out and the insertion operator. Okay. So it's going to output this. Okay. Then the next line is also saying C out. I think I made a mistake. I've been around for a long time. Okay, so this also would output this statement. Okay. And then we have the end line here. So the end line here, take note, it's coming after another insertion operator. Okay, so you write your C out, insertion, you put whatever you want to output there. You have another insertion operator, and then you output. Okay.
Sir, please, can I ask a question?
There'll be time for questions, so note it down.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So we have this also here. Okay. So this is saying that the statement should begin at a new line. Okay. Now guys, what we have here, which is \n. I don't know if you can all see it. / and then n. Okay, we call it escape sequence. I will want you to all go and read on this. Escape sequence. Okay, so go and read on this escape sequence. So we have \n. We have the \n. We have the \.
But the cover was
We have the \.
by the bottom.
Who is that?
We have the \n.
You can use it. Why will I say?
We have the \n. The \a for alert, the \t. Okay, so n means new line. Anytime you use it in your string, it moves the text to a new line. After printing the text, it moves it to a new line. There's \a for alert. Okay, there are a whole lot of them. And then there's \t for tab. Okay, I believe you all know the tab key on the keyboard. You see a tab key on your keyboard.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that tab key, anytime you use it, it's like you are writing a statement. You are writing a statement and you want to give a paragraph. Okay, so the tab will create this space for you in the form of a paragraph before you write your statement. Okay, so the \t is also used for that. Okay. So this code primarily is going to basically just go and print hi there, C++ have been around for a long time. Then to come to line 3 and print out, I can help you become a good programmer. Then line 4 says, let's start. Okay, so this is a straightforward, it's just outputting. It doesn't have an input feature anywhere. Okay. Right, someone wanted to ask a question. Can ask your question now.
Sir, please, you see, with the first C out.
Yes.
Yeah, when we terminated the statements,
Yes.
there was no NL. But with the second C out, we terminated the statement and there was an NL.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know why with the first one we didn't add the end there and it was just terminated, but with the second one, the end there was added and at the same time it was terminated.
So this example is just to explain the outputting and the use of the end L and the backslash N. Okay. So the first statement, because we didn't use the end L, what will happen is that it will print the first line. It will print line, let me just say line 1. It will print line 1. Okay. Now, because we don't have the backslash N here and also the end line here, what will happen is that line 2 will be printed on the same line as line 1. Instead of we having line 2 here under line 1 or line 2 going to line 1, because we don't have the end L or the backslash N, it will print line 2 on the same line as line 1. Okay, so until we introduce backslash N here, we introduce the end line here, then it means that line 3 will be printed on the next line. So the next line will now be line 3.
All right.
Then after printing out line 3, you can see that we have backslash N inside the string.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means that line 4 should also be printed on a new line.
The next line.
On the next line.
All right.
Okay, but because line 1, we didn't add end line or backslash N, what will happen is that it will print line 1 and the next line, which is line 2, all on the same line. Okay. All right. Yes, Itofila, take your question and then we'll start writing the program.
Sir, please, I want to ask, when do we use the backslash N and the end L?
They are performing the same task. So depending on which one you are okay with. Okay, but the backslash N, like I said, go and read on it. But the backslash N, we use it mostly inside the string. Inside the string. So like over here, this is my string, hi. Hi there. Okay, hi there. So the backslash N can be used anywhere. The escape sequence, that's how we call them. They can be used anywhere inside your string. So you can use it in here, maybe before the start of the line, or you can use it at the end of the line. You can even use it in between the string. What it means is that if you use it at the beginning, it means that it should move the text to a new line. If you use it at the end, it means that it should first print out the text, then move the subsequent text to a new line. Okay, but the end line,
okay, sir.
This is the end line, we don't write it inside the string. It's not inside the string, as you can see over here. Okay, but the backslash N, which is the escape sequence, is always inside the string. But they are all performing the same function.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay, I see some hand up. Ebenezer.
Yes, sir. Sir, please. You see, for the backslash N.
Yes.
Do we have to add a full stop or it's just the backslash N?
It's just the backslash N. The full stop is just it's just, how do I say
part of the
it?
statement.
Yes, it's part of the statement.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's part of the string. Yeah. Bashiru.
Okay, sir, I wanted to ask, can you use the slash N and the NL at the same time in your code?
Yes, you can use it at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So like I said, the \n, it depends on where you want to use it in the program. Whereas the other one has to do with using it out where you want to use it in the string. That's the \n. However, the what's it called? The end line always comes at the end. In fact, the end line you can maybe when we start writing the code, I will show you some few tricks with how you can use them. Okay. So we'll look at this example, example 2. Okay, so example 2 is a code that is printing out your name. Okay, first declaring your name as a string. You type in your name, use the input to accept the name, and then to accept your age, and then print it out in the form of a string. Okay. Then I don't know if you did this example, the TS did this example with you, swapping two numbers. Okay, so this is something we've discussed in class. Okay, so this is the code. So I'll skip this one. And then they've done the Fahrenheit 1-2 with you. Okay, so I'll skip that one as well. And then we will look at example 4.5. There are a few other examples, but we'll look at 4.5. So let's look at example 4.2. So first we create a new source file. Okay, we can create a project, but usually the project means that we'll be creating a lot of source files and other files in the project, okay, which we are not there yet. Okay. So let's just work with the source file for now. Okay. So I'll start my code. So this code is to accepting inputs. Okay, so what I've done here is to comment what the code is about. Then we have our hash include. Hash include IOStream. So if you have your laptops, you can also type with me. If you have your laptop and your lecture notes, you can flow with me in case you have any error. We can address it together. So we introduce our main. Okay, so like I said, anytime you introduce the main method, okay, it comes with a double bracket. Okay, and this bracket takes argument. Okay, but this is our main method or our main function. And after that, we have the open and close brackets, curly brackets. Then within it, we are going to write our code. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is to accept a string. So I introduce a comment. We say accept string. Okay, and the string here will be your name. Okay, accept string by declaring the variable name. So this is just a comment. So we say string, the variable is name. Okay. Now what we've done here is what we call declaration. Okay. Now, if I come down and I say name, so we are referring to the name here, the name that we've declared here. We are referring to it here, and then we are saying that name is equal to So I can put my name there. Okay. So what this means is that you are initializing initialization of the variable, name. Okay. So first we declare the variable. So like I said, declaring means that you are assigning a data type to it. And we know string as a combination of characters. Then here, I'm initializing it to name. Now what I've done here is wrong. Who can tell me what is wrong with this value? Who can tell me? We learned it from last week.
Okay.
Yes, Bright.
Because you start with a capital letter.
No, Bright, your hand is up.
It's a string, so it must have the double.
Christian, are you called Bright? Is Bright your name?
Oh.
No.
If you want to respond, just raise your hand. Okay. Yes, Bright, let's go.
Because it's a string, you are supposed to put it in a double quote.
In a double quote, perfect. Okay. So because it's a string, we have to put it in a double quote. Okay. So once you do this, it makes this now a string. Okay. So we've declared the variable name as a string. And here we are assigning the value to it. So the value here is my name. Okay. So I've assigned the value to it, but because my name is a string, I have to put it in a double quote. Else the program will give me an error. Are you all here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is what we call initialization. You initialize the variable. Okay. Now, after initializing the variable, the next thing I want to do is to output the name. So in order to output, let me just say, to output. So I use cout with my insertion operator, and then I'll say hello. So you can see that after the hello, I put a comma and then I leave a space. Okay, because the space would also be considered as a string. And then I put the hello. So I can say hello, I am. Okay. Now, after the I am, I introduce the insertion operator again. And then I refer to the name variable again. So this is a name variable, I declared it here. I'm using it here. And then I'm referring to it here again. I've initialized it at the second instance. And here I'm referring to it. Okay. So I say name. And then after that, I say NL. So it should give me a space. Okay. So let's run this code and see what we are getting as output. Now, because we are using the int main, what we do is we return 0 at the end of it. Like I said, when we look at function, we'll talk about some of this thing, what the return 0 means and all that. But for now, just know that anytime you use int main as a function, you should return a value. In this context, we are returning 0. All right, so I'll compile and then run my code, compile. So I'll save it. Okay, so just a quick one. Okay, one thing I need to inform you, for exam purposes, it's going to be very, very important. Okay, So anytime you are writing your program, make sure you have a folder created on your desktop. Okay, so I'll create a folder and then I'll name this folder. The course code is CPS 103. That's our course code. Okay, so I'll create a folder on desktop so that anytime I write a program, I have it saved in this folder. Okay, and for exam purposes too, that's what you are supposed to do. So you save your work in a folder so that the technicians after exams and all that will copy the folder and then we'll mark it. Okay. So one of the things you should learn to do is to create a folder. Okay, they are going forward to show you how to do it, how to assign your name, add your name and all that. Sorry, your index number to the folder. Okay, so I've created a folder on desktop. Now I'm going to save the work. So when I compile, I have to save. So I'll locate the folder. This is CPS 103. And then I'll save it there. So this is example. So I'll say EX example underscore 4_2 as an example 4.2. Okay. And the file name, source file is .cpp. Okay. So just keep that once you are doing C++, you don't need to change that. And then I have it saved. Okay, so from here, there's no error. Error 0, warning 0. So I can now run my code. All right, so you can see the outputs here. So let me just bring it side by side so that you appreciate what we are getting as the output. All right, so the hello, so you can see here, hello, I am. This is the string, okay? So because it's a string inside the cout, it will print out the same thing, hello, I am. Okay, then the name, we declared it here, name. We initialize it and we said name is equal to Aram. And then here in outputting, we say hello, and then we now come and reference the name. Okay, so you don't type your name in here again, but rather you type the variable that was declared. You now introduce that here, and then you can see that what it gave you the name that was stored in memory. Okay, so it's just like this is the computer memory, a container, and then you are saying that the data type is a string, and then the variable is name. Then in initializing, you say that the name in here should be this. Okay. So now when you write your program, you use it in the output. What it's doing is that it's now saying that, okay, hello, I am name. Now this name here, it will go into memory and fetch the value from the memory and now give it to your output. Are we all here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
I see
sir.
some hands up. Rabiu,
Sir.
Rabiu, do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, please go on.
Sir, please, I want to know the reason why at the 9th place we left a space over there.
Oh, there's no reason. I just want my code to look neat. That is all.
So, okay, what's the reason why you also wrote accepting string by declaring the variable name?
Why did I write this?
Yes, please.
Please go back to previous videos and you understand. We talked about comments.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. We are building on previous lessons. So if there are things that have been discussed in previous lessons and missed, I would refer you to those lessons to go and watch it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Paul. So we listen to Paul, Romeo, and Isaac, and then we continue with the code. Paul, ask your question. Unmute and ask the question.
Thank you, sir. Please, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, please, my question is, I want to know the name of the interface that showed or shows the result of your code.
Oh, it's the terminal.
Terminal.
Yes, or command prompt. If you are using Windows, you would have it in the command prompt. If you are using other operating system, you have it in the terminal.
Okay.
It's something we've also discussed. We've discussed in a previous video online session. So just get that video. Watch it.
Sir, please, my second question.
Okay.
Please, is it necessary to introduce a comment on every step you get to?
Not necessarily, but it depends. For me, personally, what I do is before I write the code, I write a comment to talk about what the program is about. Then if I get to a line that I think I might forget or it's not that clear, then I introduce a comment there so that anyone else who comes to use that code has an idea of what is happening on that line. Okay, so it's not like you have to use comment on every line. No. If you look at it, I'm trying to explain this line 6 by saying it's declaration. Trying to explain line 7 by saying we are initializing. Okay, just for you to understand. But ideally, I'll just go, once I've said what the program is doing, I'll just go straight to write program.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's take Isaac final question and then we go on with the code.
Thank you, sir. And please, considering this thing, is it the accept range, the string name, and the CL, they are all in one line? Does it mean that when it's shifted to where the int, it will not run?
I'm struggling to get the question. There's someone is unmuted and please ask the question again, Isaac.
I mean, you can see that the accept string name, and the name are all in one line. It's not the same as int main. Does it mean that when it is shifted slightly backward, the code will not run?
Can you repeat yourself again?
I want to know, is the spacing so important?
Is the what?
When writing the paragraph is so important when writing your code.
As in this one?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I think it's a good question. We call that indentation. Should be somewhere here. Yes, indentation. So indentation is like a tab. Edit. Indent. Okay, so it is one of the ways in which you can make your program easy to read. Okay, we'll get to other constructs of programming where you realize the importance of indenting your code. So we realize that after the int main, they're using namespace and the int main. This indentation was done automatically. So after my curly brackets, when I press enter, okay, it gives me the indentation automatically. Going forward, when we look at next week, when we start looking at if-else statement and so on, we realize what it does, some of the importance. There are some programming languages, like for instance, Python is mandatory. If you are writing, let's say, a function and you don't indent it, it will give you an error. Okay, so it's also another key technique in programming that you should know. There are places where you should indent rather than just writing all the code straight like this, like it's a line. It makes it difficult to read, okay? But when you indent it, it becomes readable. All right, so let's go on. We'll come back to questions. So those whose hands are up, just write the question down. Just note your question, we'll come back. Okay. All right, so what we've done here is to print out the hello, I am. Okay, so it's to print it out. Then it prints out the name. So the emphasis here is on accepting inputs. That's the emphasis. Okay. Now what we've done here is one of the ways of accepting inputs where we do the initialization. Okay. Now, the next approach I want us to look at is the use of the cin. So this time, instead of you initializing the variable, this time we are going to use cin to accept the inputs from the keyboard. Okay, so you prompt the person to enter the value. Okay, so how do we go about that? So I'll comment out this part, okay, and then move to the next line. So this time we want to see how we can use from the person to enter the input from the keyboard without initializing, but we'll still declare. So we've declared name, okay? So what I'll do is I'll use cout again, and then in my cout, I'll say, please enter your first name. Please enter your first name. Okay. And then at the end, I'll put here end line. Okay. Now this end line too, you can write it directly as a cout. So I can come here and say end line. Cout end line. What it means is that once it prints this and it moves to the next line, it will give me another line again. Okay. Then the next thing I want to do is now accept the inputs. Okay. So just like I said, you have a memory, you've declared a variable. This is what is happening here. The variable name is name. It's supposed to be a string. Okay. Now we are saying here that we want to use cin to accept the inputs. Okay. So we say cin. Now this time we use the extraction operator. Okay, so look at the difference between the cin. This is the cin extraction operator. The cout is the insertion. Okay, so you see the difference between them. Made a mistake here. Okay, so cin what? So this C in here is now going to, for you to use your keyboard, to enter the value. Okay, use the keyboard to enter the value, then that value will be stored here. So that value will be stored inside name. So we now come and put here C in the name. Okay, so this same name that has been declared, this same name that has been declared here, okay, is what we are referencing here. And take note, we said it's case sensitive. So don't go and type in name with small n and then come and type name with capital N here. It will give you an error. Okay, so we are referring to the same case you use, just repeat it. Okay, as you can see here. So name. Okay, so what it means is that it will now prompt the person, please enter your first name. Then after that, this C in will prompt you for the name in the keyboard. Then whatever name you enter will be stored in memory. If I enter my name to be stored in memory, and then after it's been stored in memory, it is given here, sorry, it is given out here to be printed. So let's compile and run this code. All right, so I hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you can see
Yes,
the
sir.
first statement over here is saying that what? Please enter your name, which is the first output statement. See out, enter your name. So you see the cursor here. After saying enter your name, we did what? End line. How many of them? This is the first end line. That means it should move to the next line. And then this is the second end line. Okay. So if you look at it carefully, it's giving us what? 2 lines. So it has skipped the first line here, and the cursor is now showing on this line. Okay. Because we introduced the end line twice. Okay. So now I'm going to enter my name. Now after typing my name here, then I press enter. Okay. So what does it say? It now gives me what? Hello, my name is, okay, and then gives me the name. Are you all here? So that's how we use the C in. The C in. Okay, so in the handouts, there's a second part to it, which I believe once you understand the first part, you can easily do this one. So it's the same thing. Okay, however, it is using an integer here. Okay, so the integer for age is a positive whole number. So int age, then it says enter your age. Okay, then it uses the cout to accept the age by the keyboard. So we enter the age on the keyboard as a number. Then it will now say you are, so it will print the string, reference the age that was entered. So if you entered 14, you are 14, then it adds the string to it, years old. Okay, so try out this code and try the second part. All right, let me take questions. Joseph, Unfortunately, I have to attend to something, so I'll take the questions and then end the meeting here. Next week, we'll look at, I want you to all go and try the examples. Example 4, all of them. There are about 7 of them, and then come with your questions. So I'll address those questions before we look at the control structure. And there's also an exercise here. I'd want you to try it out. I'll copy it and paste it on the LMS for you. Try it out. Okay. All right, so yes, let me take the questions. I'll take, so I think 5 hands are up. So up to Dauda. So I'll start with Joseph, with Wakumia.
Okay. Sir, please, my question was, I tried the string using the name, string name, the input one and the C in, but I typed in my 2 names, but I printed only one.
You typed?
I typed in 2 names, but I printed only one.
What did
my
you type?
problem is with the name.
Okay. Repeat the question again. Let me get a full. Set Odro. Set Odro. Stop writing on the screen. Set Odro. Please erase it. Please erase it.
We had a better
Yes, Joseph, repeat your question again.
So my question was, I tried the example you are doing right now, and I inputted my 2 names. I inputted my 2 names, but I printed only one.
So you gave a space, right?
Yes, please.
And then you type another name again.
Yes, please.
Okay, and then it gave you 1.
But
it printed 1.
Only one name, the first one.
All right, so let me just run it again, and so that people will have an idea of your question. What's your? So this is what it's trying to say. Okay. So the C out, anytime a space comes after it, as we can see here, from whatever you are supposed to enter, okay, it ignores the letter after the 8. But the option there, if you go back to the handouts, there is the get var option. There is also another way you can use the C in. Okay, so to get, so the get option here can pick a name in full. You get me, Joseph?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I get you.
The other way too is you can declare 2 variables. Maybe the first one as first name, then another string as surname. Okay, and then use the C in twice. C in twice. First name, then surname. Okay, so you can say, please enter first name, then another C out, please enter surname. So it will get 2 locations in memory, one for first name, one for first name, one for surname. Okay, so that when you enter the two, then you come and place them inside your output. Then one will be for the first name, then another one for the surname, so that it will print out two. Okay, so you can try it in that form also, and it should be able to print it out for you. Another thing too we'll look at is concatenation. Concatenation means you are joining two strings together. Okay, so when we move on, we'll talk about that as well. Okay, all right, next question. Emmanuel, Dia.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Please, over the week, I've been trying to run some codes, some examples.
Okay.
Even the one that we just did now.
Yes.
If I run to take input, it just executes to the end, and then it doesn't take the input.
If you can share this snapshot of the code immediately in the chat, so that maybe we can discuss it, look at it and discuss it.
Okay, sir.
All right. So I'll be checking the chats for the example, your code. Eric Odro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Please, my question is on the NL.
Okay.
You were saying that if you want to create a line, if you want to skip a line, you can use cout. That's the NL.
Yes, like we have here.
Yeah. So my question is, let's assume you don't want to use the cout, which is the NL, to create another line. Can you make NL twice at the end? Let's say first name, please enter your first name, then NL, another NL.
Yes, you can do that. You can do that. Okay. And then the other one too I talked about, which was the /n. Like I was saying, that one has to be inside your string. Okay, so I'll put it in my string /n. Can do as many as you want.
Sir.
Okay. Or you can also do the /t. You can put it anywhere within your string. I can put it at the beginning. If I put it at the beginning, to mean that I should print out the line before it should move to the next line. Okay. All right, so let's move to the next person, right?
Hello, sir. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is, at cout. Oh, so please use the okay. So I see how out, which is hello, I am. Then you printed like so that to print the name. Can you also have get line, which is a bracket open? Then you have your scene with C in and the name.
Can you have what?
Like if you don't want to write it like how you have written it, where the name is. Can you have another one that is get line, open bracket, then you bring scene, which is C in, and comma with your name, which the name that you have declared through the string. Can you also use that one?
Where are you writing that? Is it in line 10 or line 9?
No, at line 10. Yeah, line 10. So like you are printing hello, I am. Then at the next line, which line 11, you can get line and please do you understand what I'm saying?
Line 11, and then what?
Get line.
Let's not bring in things to confuse people. Okay, so let's stick to, we are still looking at the basics. Okay, so let's not move ahead and get people confused. Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I was saying Emmanuel here. So Emmanuel, let's just look at the code he was talking about. Maybe we'll see what's the error is. So Emmanuel, what was your comment?
Yes, sir. So when I run the code,
Yes.
It runs on the terminal, but the code runs. But instead of it to ask for the input, you don't get time to even input, then the code ends. It runs to the end, and then if you press anything on the keyboard, it gets terminated.
So string name, cout. I think everything is rightly declared. Daniel, Kwete, stop writing on the screen. Okay. So you're saying that when you run it. So
when I run it,
yes.
So when I run it on the on the console, on the terminal, it just comes, it shows up, and then the code terminates by itself without taking the input.
Austin Daku, stop writing on the screen. The code runs and terminates by itself without accepting the input.
The input. Yes.
Okay. So it may be that sometimes when you don't, if maybe you've run a code already and you've not closed the terminal before running another code, okay, you might have something like that happen. You get me?
Yes, sir.
So you realize that we wrote the code first for initialization, and then we modified it. So in the period where you've modified it and you are running it again, and the terminal is open, the ability that you'll be having the old code running is there. So you may have to close the old one before running the new one that you've edited, you've updated. Okay, the modification you've done, close the old one, terminal that was running, and then you run it again. Apart from that, I'm trying to see what other issue this might be, because I don't see any error here. If it were to be a C programming, I'll say usually the C programming, what happens is that when you run the code, the terminal shows, pops up, and then disappears without you even seeing the answer. So we use a statement which is system false, okay, to hold the screen without disappearing, but yours is not in that context. So maybe I'll try out what I just said and let's see what happens.
Okay, sir.
All right. Okay. Umar Dauda.
Sir, please. I was asking that, like, what's the return, the line 11, the return, what's the return for? The return. Yes, please, the return.
It works with the int main. It's the int main. It works with functions. So when we get to functions, you will explain it what it does. So for now, just use it because it has to work with the int main.
Okay.
But if you want to read more, the lecture notes, chapter 3, there's an explanation there on it. But we look at functions and then we will explain what the return does and the functions, yeah. Wisdom Kwame.
Good evening, sir, and thank you.
Yeah. Good evening.
So, some days back, I tried a question from the handout. The question says you should calculate and output the area of and perimeter of a square. I did the algorithm flowchart and I tried my hand on writing the code.
Okay.
When I run the code, it calculates the area of the square, but does not calculate the perimeter unless I input something else in the command prompt before it gives me the perimeter. And
okay.
I was having a challenge with inputting the unit for the area, which is supposed to be centimeter square. The square, I don't know how to put that.
Okay.
Aside from last issue, today I was trying to write some other code, but when I run the program, when I compile, I don't get any error, but when I run it, I get an error. The error is
so with all that you've discussed, can you share it in the chat so that we can see it if you want us to help you? Because we all didn't see the code. We've not seen the code you are talking about. So
right now, I don't know. Okay, let me see if I can reopen the code.
Okay. All right. So whilst you do that, let me take the last question. There's a hand up. I'll take the last question and address the LMS issues. Yes, someone's hand is up with an index number. Who is the person? Unmute and speak.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Please, I wanted to ask.
Please, may we know your name?
Please, my name is Joanna.
Joanna, okay. Full-time or part-time?
Part-time.
Okay.
Okay, please, I wanted to ask, which keyword do you use to define the function namespace?
Which keyword?
Yes, it's used to define the function namespace.
Why are you asking this question?
A question like that came in the
chat. Okay, and someone is also mentioning it in the chat.
Okay. It appeared in the quiz, and I wanted to find out because I was a bit confused.
So if you go to the what's it called? If you go to your handout, I've showed you the keywords there last week's Zoom session. You see all the keywords there, so that should give you a clue. I'm not giving anyone the answer now because some people have still not attempted it, and it's likely they will get those questions. So, so I'll just give you a clue, which I've just done. Yeah. Someone is asking for more examples. You want more examples? There are more examples in the in your.
So yes, but the handout, I don't have some. That's why I asked for the more examples. It's finished.
Okay. What else? What else? What else?
Hello, sir.
Okay, so let me address the LMS questions, the LMS issues, and then we can call it a day. Okay. So we were informed to register on the LMS. When you register and you log in, you see your course. Or you see all the courses you are doing in level 100. And then this particular course, CPS 103. CPS 103. We have the course code here for sorry, we have the course outline here. So you can download it and have a preview of the topics you'll be doing throughout the course and other reading materials that you can use. All is listed out in the course outline. Okay, so the overview of programming languages, we've done that. That was our face-to-face first session, algorithms and flowcharts. Done one online and one face-to-face. So I'll include the online video. Programming fundamentals, we've done that. Okay, so today's session is here. So I'll include the video link over here so that you can all watch it once you log into the platform. Okay. Then we have quiz. We've done 2 quizzes already. Okay, hopefully when you come back, you get your assessments back. But this is quiz 3, which is on the LMS. Okay, so 321 students have registered. 321 students have registered, but only 223 people attempted the quiz. Okay, that means we have almost 100 students who have not attended. Now, it was just one attempt, and I think I sent the class reps a breakdown of the performance. Now, I had a complaint from someone who said and struggling to attempt it. Initially, I want to reopen it this evening for you guys to attempt it. And it's like that, it wouldn't be possible. So I'm going to do that. I'll communicate with your class reps and reopen it preferably tomorrow evening. Partners, you have class after 7 p.m.
No, sir.
Okay. So if you don't have a class, then I'm going to open the link 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, so that all those who have not attempted can attempt. And then those who, I believe those who have attempted, you've seen your marks now.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Yes.
There were also some issues with some questions. I think.
Yes.
I asked your class rep to share it with me. Let me see if I can locate it. So some of the, what's it called? The possible answers. So I had to shuffle it. So you might see A and then see B and all that because it was shuffled. Okay. So there were some which had issues with the choice, possible answers. So I'll rework on that. And then tomorrow there'll be another attempt. So those who have attempted it already, you might want to attempt again. Now, when you attempt the second time, it's not going to take the lowest mark, it will take the highest mark. So if you had maybe 10 over 10 and you want to attempt again, and for instance, the second attempt you had 2, it doesn't mean you scored 2, but it's going to pick the highest mark. Going to pick the highest mark. So your 10 will still be there. Okay. Just that in a second attempt, the probability that you'll be exposed to new set of questions will be high. Okay. And the second attempt too is for those who want to better their marks. So you check the first one, you realize it didn't do well, you want to better it. You can attempt it for the second time. All right, so hopefully these issues will be catered for in the second attempt. And I think that should be it. Yeah. All right, so I see some 4 hands up. Let me just take those last questions and then end. So Prince, Vincent. All right, Bashiru.
Okay, sir. I wanted to ask for the first quiz. Some of us we didn't have any possible answers on the with the quiz. Yeah. Some of the numbers we have the question, but the possible answer, the two answers attached to the selected maybe 8.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., you have the opportunity to attempt it again. So by that time, all those corrections, errors will be fixed. Dankwa. Samuel Dankwa. What's your question? Yes.
Hello, sir. My email account is not working. The one I used to register for the school, it's not working. And because of that, I've not been able to partake in the quiz. So what am I supposed to do?
Go to the ICT directories.
Okay.
Have it resolved. They'll help you out with how to go about it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Victor, let me take Victor and then Richard, then we end. Victor, unmute and speak. Richard, you can also speak if you are ready.
Please, are we going to have the same questions, or the question will be based on the programming language?
Oh, the questions is a bank of questions, so different people have different questions. So it's not like you're having the same question, it's shuffled, different set of questions. So the probability that you get a different set of questions is very high from what you first answered. So it's good to attempt it so that you can see the various questions that can appear.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so one other thing I would want to say is that please, before you attempt the quiz, make sure your internet is good. You have a good internet. Just try opening some pages and see how fast Google opens some pages on your phone or your laptop and see how fast these pages can open before you start. Okay. All right, so I think we'll end the meeting here.